first thing that comes to your mind when I say women? Are you thinking about your favorite math teacher or your mom baking your favorite cookies, or are you just thinking about big boobs and big butts? Tough question, huh? Let's find out what people think.
I think that it's reasonable that women would have issues with the way traditional media have portrayed them, and with the rise of media content, including female heroism. I feel like the current media culture can repaint the misrepresentation of women. By doing so, to balance the ongoing gender division.
일단은 과거에는 확실히 남자가 여자들에 비해서 출연하는 빈도도 많았던 것 같고 좀 중심적인 부분을 차지하는 비중이 많았다면은 최근에는 여자 연예인들만 많이 나온 예능들도 생기고 그 외에도 여자들이 주체적으로 주인공이 돼서 나오는 드라마 그 이상한 변호사 우영우처럼 그런 영상도 많아지는 것 같아서 지금 많이 트렌드가 변화하고 있는 것 같아요.
I guess today you can see that women are being shown like half naked during the videos of some songs, and that's actually not good. I guess it affects young generation much, like if they be exposed to if they are exposed to such contents, they may start thinking women with not respect.
We can all agree that women and their bodies have always been commodities and sources of pleasure and exploitation for patriarchal cultures. Starting from the 20th century, in television, films, commercials, and music videos, sexualization and objectification of women became an increasingly growing trend. Today, across television, billboards, glossy pages of magazines, and social media, we can see hypersexualized and unrealistically perfect female forms. Advertisements, music videos, and films dehumanize girls and women and portray them as commodities. If you look at music videos from 6ix9ine or 50 Cent and probably half of the male rap artists, you can see that some of the song lyrics are not exactly uplifting towards women. They can sometimes come off as offensive and disrespectful. I mean, I'm sure no one likes to be called bitch, or whore. But these are some words that are portrayed in song lyrics. Now, don't get me started on how women are portrayed in these music videos too. They are often seen wearing little to nothing, and is that really how women are supposed to be portrayed in order to get attention and views? What happened to creative storytelling and real actual raw music? The music industry can be so blinded by views and popular culture these days that it forgets to capture the essence of how it is supposed to speak to lives, especially to those who can't find words to express themselves and music in their only source. Now let's look at it from a male perspective and ask what my friend thinks about it.
Well, I think one of the main reasons would be to pull in the views, and views, high views, obviously they generate more kind of money. And another reason would be from the perspective of the artist is that he wants to kind of show that that's the kind of status that he is living in, and depending on the trend throughout the times, it could be that, you know, that's what the goal of life is. But I think it's a long-term effect that eventually comes back to harm the woman's image, and that when the music video first started popping out with, you know, with the rich guy and the you know, half-naked ladies and stuff like that, it was cool, and I think at that time it was generally accepted by both sides of the gender. But as time moves on and as women's movement become more active and they evolve, I think it kind of turned into like a bad nightmare.
In the early days of cinema, films would regularly portray women as weak, inferior, or unintelligent. Let's look at the early examples of how women are portrayed in films. In 1933, King Kong was released. Kidnapped by both the monster and the native of Skull Island, Anne Darrow's character is portrayed as a helpless woman who requires the help of men, such as filmmaker Carl Denham, to save her. Another example is Batman 1966, starring Adam West as Batman, Burt Ward as Robin, and Lee Meriwether as Catwoman. Sure, it was a win to see a female anti-hero make it to the silver screen, but unfortunately, it depicts Selina Kyle as a female who seduces men towards traps and compromising situations. In addition, Meriwether is sexualized throughout the film for the male gaze, from her outfit to the poses she is directed to assume. Today we see more examples of films where a woman is the main character, a hero or a villain, and man is not seen anywhere near to her. Women characters are stronger, smarter, braver, and that's what a good film industry should have looked like from the very beginning, right?
I think it's part of an innate personality of a woman to want to feel protected, to want to feel she is being appreciated and adored. It's the traditional way of portraying women. I think traditional, for example, I think that traditional Disney movies, when they came out, I think it kind of went hand in hand with how, I would say, the standards for a woman was back in the day. Would it kind of resonate the same reaction among women today if those traditional movies kind of, if they were played again in cinemas now? I don't think so, but I think that back then the women, they were fine with how they were portrayed, and that, as the innocent, as the I don't want to say weak. When you look at Snow White, like the old Snow White movies, I don't think you would see them as weak. I think you would just see them as a symbol of a feminine character that is to be rescued by a knight.
Role of women in traditional Disney movies is usually to be an addition to a man, someone who is not the main character alone. Princesses always search for princes they can't save or protect themselves and wait for men to save them. Examples are Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, where Snow White finds a prince at the end. Sleeping Beauty is saved by a prince who kissed her and woke her up from a long sleep. Cinderella was lucky enough for the prince to like her, so she didn't need to live with her stepmom and sisters anymore. Rapunzel was also saved by a man. All of these examples show that women are not heroes, not role models like male characters are usually portrayed. Even if a woman is the main character of the movie, she has weaknesses or insecurities that need to be filled up by a man in her life. Name an old Disney movie where the female saved the world. The answer to that question, I think I could probably count them with my fingers. Basically, not that many. Imagine growing up with such fairy tales being told to you. These stereotypes are slowly ingrained in us unknowingly during the years that are crucial to our learning stages. Of course, times change, and today we can see examples of Disney movies empowering women and their strengths. For example, an American fantasy action drama film produced by Walt Disney Pictures, Mulan. She is a hero and a warrior who is brave and ready to sacrifice herself for her nation. However, the director and most of the screenplay writers are women, which is why it was such a victorious premiere for women. The conclusion is, even though there are female protagonists who are heroes and everyone's role models, it's most likely to be filmed by a woman, and male viewers wouldn't be that happy with it.
I don't think that traditional Disney movies, I don't think they are really anti-woman. I think that they just they're one-sided in how they portray women, Like, for example, Mulan is not really anti-men. You can't say it's anti-men, but is it completely showing what men are. It's not, you know, it's just one-sided, you know, according to the story. So I think that's it. Like, if men shouldn't be anti-woman and women shouldn't be anti-men, and if they kind of keep it within that boundary, I think, you know, a prosperous community can be formed.